Well, I think, Canada is such a Facebook mad nation that we are very much the beneficiaries of that. So if you think about a country that has 35 million people, we have 18 million of those who are Facebook users. So over the half of the country is on Facebook. 4 out of every 5 internet users are on Facebook. And if you take a look at, for every 5 minutes that's spent on the internet, 1 of those minutes is spent on Facebook. And so we are a nation full of Facebook users. And not only are our users using Facebook, but they're engaged on Facebook at a rate that's like twice the global average. And so they come in great numbers and they stay for long periods of time, on average about 8 hours a month. We do one thing really, really well, and that is we allow people to connect and share at a scale and intimacy, which seems odd to use those 2 words in the same sentence, but really at a scale and intimacy that's never been done before. And as human beings at our very core, that's really what we want to do and what we've been doing for centuries, is trying to figure out ways to connect with people that are interesting to us, in brands, in nonprofits that are meaningful to us, in ways that are timely and relevant. And really that's what Facebook does. It allows you to do that in a way that's never been done before. I think the biggest change we've seen in the last year is the prevalence of the usage of Facebook on mobile devices. And so now we have over 1 billion users, 600 million plus of those access Facebook on a mobile device. And if you take a look at the entire world of hundreds of thousands of free mobile apps, Facebook is the #1 downloaded free app on iOS and on Android. So increasingly more and more so, people are not only accessing Facebook on a mobile device, but they're sharing using their mobile devices. Because after all, when you think about a mobile device, there's probably been nothing ever invented that's more inherently social than your mobile device. It's with you wherever you go, whether you're with friends, attending events, watching sports on TV, like whatever it is, you have the ability not only to tell people where you are, but you can tell them who you're with and what you think about what happens to be going on in front of you. I think in Canada, we have about 54% penetration of smartphones, and over half of those smartphones have Facebook apps that are downloaded and being used. And so as smartphone penetration increases, the usage of Facebook clearly is going to increase, and we think that's a really good thing for everybody that's walking around with a smartphone on their hip. In some ways, this might be an odd answer, but I really believe that trustworthiness is something that continues to be talked about a lot, but also appreciated by the vast majority of our users, and I'll tell you why. What is clear is when you're online and sharing, there needs to be an underlying sense of trust with the platform that you're sharing on, that they will do all of the things they say they will do and won't do with your data. And so at Facebook, when we talk about the importance of privacy and security, what we're really saying to our users is, we want to make sure that every single one of our users has the opportunity and ability to share with who they want, when they want, what they want. And so we've democratized essentially privacy. And I think that is a very comforting reality to the vast majority of people on Facebook who feel very comfortable sharing a wide variety of things with their friends, their colleagues, and their associates. I also think presence probably goes hand in hand with that. If you look at the critical mass of Facebook and some of the numbers of penetration in Canada when it comes to over half of our citizens that are on Facebook and 4 out of every 5 internet users that are on Facebook, there's a bit of a network effect there. And because so many people are using Facebook as the primary place to share and connect, I think the presence is a really important characteristic of our brand. You know what, I love brands who stand for something that is much greater than just the product or service that they're trying to peddle. So I think about brands like, I love TELUS. TELUS is a telco, but TELUS is much more than that, right? TELUS is an incredible member of a community where over the course of the last 11 years, their employees have spent something like 4.5 million hours volunteering. TELUS and its employees have donated over $300 million to a variety of nonprofits and charities. So what TELUS really is about is community engagement. I would say the same thing for Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons does a great job serving me lunch or coffees or donuts, but that's not what they're about. Right? They're about something that's much bigger, which is being an essential fabric in this country. It's about building 6 camps for underprivileged kids who can go experience the outdoors by virtue of Tim Hortons and their presence in all of these local communities across Canada. think about the Four Seasons. Four Seasons really isn't about staying in a nice bed with good food. Four Seasons is about incredibly standardized, awesome, personalized service around the world. And to me, those brands transcend what it is they sell into what it is they stand for and what it is they do. I think we have to do a couple of things. One is we need to continue evolving our product. And I think we've done a really good job in the past of listening to what our users want, speaking with the brands who are spending more and more of their marketing dollars on Facebook to address business problems, speaking to them to make sure that the products that we are bringing to market address the answers to the questions they have. We need to continue to focus on the measurement of the commercial side of our business, which we are doing, I think, a pretty good job of and more sophisticated every day. These are measurement frameworks that didn't exist 365 days ago. In another 365 days, they'll be more sophisticated and more ubiquitous. And I think if we do those two things, right? Big ears continue to listen and evolve the product based on the needs of our users and our brands. And on the commercial side, our product evolves and we continue to measure the successes that the vast majority of brands are experiencing on Facebook with a continued focus on being a mobile-first company. I think Facebook will continue to be a terrific brand that has huge influence. There's some realities of doing business in Canada that sometimes keep me up at night. One is we still, whether we like to admit it or not, we live in and operate in a country that is still fairly conservative when it comes to marketing. And so as we develop a product that is very cutting edge, some would argue bleeding edge, that moves very quickly and capitalizes and addresses on like the latest and greatest market opportunities, I really hope and pray that Canadian marketers have an appetite to do the same with us. And I think they do. I don't think we've had a great history of that, although I do think at their core, they really want to be leaders and they really want to have access to the latest and greatest technologies. And I think Facebook is a great place to give it to them. And that's the primary thing that keeps me up at night, is how do we reconcile those two to continue the incredible growth that we're seeing in Canada. I think Facebook's the most influential brand in Canada in 2012. I have the pleasure of talking to our users and our brands, and I know how important and how significant we are in their lives. And I have great confidence that influence continues.